Hi, my name is Yaakov Fruchter, and welcome to the Annex Shul Growth Through Torah Moment for Parshat Vaetchanan. Several weeks before Moshe's death, he addresses the new generation of Jewish people right before they were to enter the land of Israel, the Promised Land. And he says to them, Vaetchanan el Adonai, and I implored God to allow me to enter the land of Israel together with my followers. And how does God respond? God says to Moshe, climb up to the top of the mountain and look east, west, north, and south, and peer in to the land that I have promised to your people, but you will not be allowed to enter along with them. And the rabbis struggled with this concept. How is it possible that Moshe, the greatest Jewish leader of all time and possibly the greatest Jew of all time, did not have his prayers answered? If I, as a simple Jew, am expected to pray to God, to have that kind of a relationship, how can I pray knowing that even Moshe's prayers weren't answered? This week, we commemorated Tisha B'Av, a day in which we remember the destruction of the first and second temple and other calamities that took place to the Jewish people over the last 2,000 years. We know that since the destruction of the second temple, Jewish people have been crying and praying to God to be able to return to the land of Israel, to our holy city, Jerusalem. There's a mythical story told about Napoleon that one day he was walking around with some of his advisors and he heard these people crying and weeping. And he said to one of these advisors, who are these people that are weeping? And the advisor said to him that, well, there are these Jewish people and they cry. And so Napoleon goes up to one of the Jewish people who was crying and says to him, what are you crying about? And the Jewish person says to him, well, my home was destroyed. And Napoleon said, that's terrible. Who destroyed your home? I'm going to make them pay for this and I'm going to allow you to rebuild your home. And the Jewish person said, well, the people who destroyed my home are no longer around. And Napoleon said, well, what do you mean? When was your home destroyed? And he said, close to 1,800 years ago, my home was destroyed. Since the destruction of the Second Temple, Jewish people have been praying and dreaming for the Jewish homeland to be restored. And we know that in 1948, this dream became a reality with the establishment of the State of Israel. Rav Avram Aryeh Trugman, explained an answer to this question that I posed before, that the rabbis asked, how is it possible that Moshe's prayers weren't answered? And Rav Trugman says, they were answered, just not in the way that people expected. When people 150, 200, 1,000 years ago prayed for the Jewish homeland to be rebuilt, they didn't see it happen in their time. But yet we know for sure that their prayers helped in allowing us to have the state of Israel today. In the same way, Moshe's prayers, in which he says to God, I beseech you, God, allow me to enter this land, wasn't a prayer only for himself, but it was a prayer that the Jewish people should continue to be able to have a connection to the land of Israel. And every moment that one of us today continues that relationship, when we travel to Israel, when we live in Israel, when we support Israel in whatever way we can, we are helping to fulfill Moshe's dreams. And we are helping in ensuring that God answered Moshe's questions. And so prayer is always a difficult thing because we don't know when our prayers are going to be answered. But we can't stop praying. Have a wonderful week.